Welcome, everybody, to a Monday night special edition of the Infinity Equation, where we're doing a recap, a review, as you could say, of WandaVision. Always, every time I hear that name, I always think of like Weird Al Yankovic saying, like, WandaVision, 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 like Weird Al Yankovic. No? Okay. Whatever. As always, I am joined by Mr. Laserpants81.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us.
And then by the newly minted co-host, Alex Sanchez. How you doing, sir?
How's everyone doing? Hope oh man. Yeah, hope all right. Gotta switch to my cam. I don't know what time the show starts. But anyway.
New guy already screwed up the show, man. Can you believe this?
He's like, damn camera.
That's good.
Yep.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Technical
No, you're
difficulties again. But I am Alex Sanchez, Ironhead77. Hope everyone's doing well.
Well, welcome. Everybody's watching. Welcome. We appreciate you coming out here, hanging out with us for an hour as we talk about WandaVision. How some of us liked it, how some of us may be mediocre on it, and how some of us just don't like good stuff. But anyway, we're here to talk about this.
Talk about a 9-episode show that should have been 6.
No, see, they told you ahead of time what the first 3 episodes were about. They said that.
Oh.
They warned you.
Oh,
They gave you the information ahead of time. They didn't have to, but they did.
That's a good excuse for poor writing.
No, that's really? Okay.
All the way through, huh? You're writing?
I didn't hate the show that much. I didn't even hate it.
He did. He's lying.
No.
He said if it didn't have Bo-Katan in it, he didn't like it.
She would have made it better.
Wow. No.
Bo-Katan's great.
Let's stop. Bo-Katan's in Star Wars. I'm not getting no Star Wars mixed up with my Marvel.
They're already running out of ideas. It's gonna happen.
How are they running out of ideas?
They just made a Rock a co-pilot in Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh, that thing.
Oh, yeah.
The
Geode. Yeah, Geoid.
Geoid?
He's a rock. He's a rocket. He's a strong rocket Gibraltar. Okay, sir. He does all the heavy lifting for the team.
Yeah.
Yes, Kev. I know you like Bo-Katan too. Here's Kevin. Mr. Butterbear. Always coming here starting trouble.
We got a lot of troublemakers today, man.
Oh yeah, we got Classic Cussing talking about the whole show was a shit sandwich. I said what I typed. It's fine. Whatever.
Oh, I saw his post. Yeah, he went off on that show.
Yeah.
He's a smart man. I've always said that. And he's a good friend.
We'll get into it.
All right.
All right. So the first episode was called Film Before a Live Studio Audience. Newlywed couple Wanda and Vision moving to the town of Westview in a 1950 setting. Despite Vision being an android and Wanda having telekinesis and reality warping abilities, they attempt to blend in. One day, they notice a heart drawn on the calendar, but neither can remember what the occasion is. While Vision goes to his job, Computational Services Incorporated, Wanda decides that the heart represents their anniversary. Their neighbor Agnes introduces herself to Wanda and helps prepare to celebrate that night. Vision amazes his coworkers with a speech, but is unsure of what his company actually does. He's reminded that he and Wanda are hosting his boss, Mr. Hart, and his wife for dinner that night, which is what the heart represents. Wanda and Vision struggle to hide their abilities while making a last-minute dinner for the Harts. While interrogating Wanda and Vision, Mr. Hart chokes on his food, and Vision uses the ability to save him. All this takes place in the fictional sitcom WandaVision, which someone is watching on a television.
I thought it was a great start to a show. I really liked that they started off doing something completely new and different.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I watched the Dick Van Dyke Show as a kid. I remember watching reruns. So it was like, it was pretty spot on to that feel, to that genre of television. So I thought they did a great job. And man, Paul Bettany can act.
Oh, yeah.
That dude can like. I've only really seen him as Vision and not much else.
Really?
Solo.
You never
Yeah.
seen Priest? So you haven't
No.
seen Priest. You haven't seen Legion.
Nope.
He was pretty good in those.
Okay.
They weren't like high skywrecking like box office blusters, but he was in both, and he was pretty good in those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the first episode too. It was I'm pretty old also, so I remember seeing those shows in syndication, and I thought what it did really well was kind of hook people that might not necessarily be into like superheroes, but maybe like my wife, for example. She was hooked in the first few episodes, especially the first episode, just because of the whole sitcom theme that they got going. So I thought they did a pretty good job of just maybe making the casual fans get a little curious about it, as opposed to just hardcore superhero Marvel fans, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and they released episode 1 and 2 in the same week, so you got to kind of watch them back to back the same day.
Mhm.
Yeah, they do
And-
that. They do that. They did that with Mandalorian too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the 2 episodes I feel like they could have been one.
Mhm.
You know, because I mean, they were pretty short. They weren't even 30 minutes. I mean, when you take out the credits, they were not 30 minutes.
But I think that was the issue with the kind of the first couple of episodes. They weren't the full hour. It was more. I see what they're going for with those first 3. Like, there's more just like, hey, they're just a half-hour comedy sitcom, but
Right.
Mhm.
You're
we're leaving
by
little
design.
breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Right. They're leaving like little breadcrumbs to show you like what this is leading all up to.
Mhm.
Like, there's certain things that we see later on that make more sense now, going back in those first 3 episodes, like what the heart represents. And then like all the people, like just like the first where he had the dinner with his boss, he's like, and his wife was like, "What are you doing?" Like, save him, save him, save him. So it's kind of like you see like things like kind of start showing up. Like they're just dropping the breadcrumbs to see, like, hey, maybe this will happen. I think I'll get my thoughts at the end of what people got themselves hyped up for. But this first episode, I loved it. I enjoyed it. Like everybody said, it did give very reminiscence to Dick Van Dyke. I enjoyed it very much. I seen a little bit of Bewitched in there as well, with like kind of like the magic going on. But yeah, very enjoyable episode. It's funny for something that comes out different from a Marvel perspective. It didn't come out with all action. You know, hey, this is who the bad guy is. This is who we got to fight. This is who we got to stop.
Yeah.
So it kind of gave a little bit of a different look on it.
Mhm.
It was even though they did really stay true to that 1950s genre, that Dick Van Dyke sitcom style, there was that underlying creepiness. There was something there, something unspoken. And of course, when they were having dinner with his boss and his boss's wife, and he starts choking and she starts repeating herself over and over again, that was like, this is weird, man. And that kind of is what really sucked me in. You know what I mean? It was like, what's going on here?
Mhm.
I mean, if you're at all familiar with comics, you know what Scarlet Witch's powers are. You know that she can create alternate realities or change reality. And so that was everyone's like go-to, like, okay, that's what's happening. And to a point it was. But yeah, I love that underlying creepiness, and I love the cliffhanger endings. They bring you back for the next week. You know, there's a lot of setup. They bring you back.
Because like, I'm sorry, just real quick, like that first episode ended like with somebody watching TV, so we didn't know who was watching at first. But we didn't know who was watching at first. I knocked off Sanchez, Tony Stark.
Oh,
But we didn't know who was watching at first, but we knew it was Sword altogether. We knew Sword, somebody from Sword was watching.
mm-hmm.
So we know later on what that leads to and how that becomes relevant. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, and that's the second episode is when they dived into the Bewitched territory.
Yeah. Don't touch that dial is the second episode. In 1960 setting, Wanda and Vision hear strange noises outside their house. They prepare their magic act for a neighborhood talent show. Wanda and Agnes spend the day with the show's planning committee led by Dottie, and Vision attends a neighborhood watch meeting where he accidentally swallows some chewing gum. Wanda befriends another neighbor, Geraldine, and notices more strange things: a yellow and red toy helicopter in a black and white world, a voice on the radio that seems to be speaking to her, and a red blood stain. Thanks to the gum caught in the internal mechanism, Vision appears to be intoxicated at the talent show and publicly reveals his abilities. Wanda uses her abilities to make this look like simple magic tricks and fixes Vision by removing the gum. They return home and Wanda becomes visibly pregnant. When they see a strange beekeeper emerging from the manhole on the street, Wanda resets the reality before the figure appears. The setting then becomes colorful as it changes to the 1970s.
Yeah. So when we saw that beekeeper, not to jump to the end, but we see that beekeeper. What do we think?
I was totally confused.
I thought it was going to be AIM.
Yes.
I thought that's what it was going to be AIM.
Me too. And that expounded on all that creepiness from the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
That underlying, like, what's going on? Like when the lady bled, it was red, because the show up to this point is black and white, and then she's bleeding red.
Yeah.
And you hear someone's voice talking through that radio, and they're saying, "Wanda, Wanda, can you hear me?" And it's like, man, what is going on here? And if we could have only identified that voice at the time, that voice coming through the radio, that was so cool.
And it's funny too, because it's like they did like the 1960s tropes, like Vision being a machine and gumming up the works. Like it was little cornball jokes in there that if you weren't like aware of it, you would have missed it. It would have gone over here like, oh, he's just a machine. It's just something that's helping him, is messing him up.
And the the little animated segments they did.
I was just going to mention that. Yeah. It was definitely a callback to like the Bewitched, how they had little animation intro and outro.
Yeah, I think the showrunners definitely did their homework on that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I like that it's a different. Each episode is like a different decade, basically.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way that they did that.
Yeah, and then we first meet Geraldine, who everybody figured out was Miss Young Monica Rambeau. Ew.
Yeah, she did show up in that episode.
Yeah. You're the only black person here. You gotta be Monica at this point. Like, random us jumping up at a scene like, hey, how you doing? Oh, sorry, except for the other neighbor, the black guy. I forget his name.
The one that's married to what's her name?
Yeah, that was Herb.
Yep, Herb. Thank you.
Played by David Payton. Yeah, and Monica Rambeau was played by Teyona Paris.
Yes,
she did a good job.
Oh yeah,
I thought so too. The casting for Monica Rambeau was spot on, I thought.
Yeah,
and we got to mention Agnes too, because she was just chewing up the scenery in every scene she was in.
Yeah,
like, wow, what is her name? Harold.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
What's the actress name? Mary Jo Rupp, something like that.
Deborah
whoever her name is. I've been a big fan of her since she's in like a bunch of the Will Ferrell movies.
Step Brothers.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But you know what? It's funny, and I think a lot of people forget this. I think she was Doc Ock in Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales.
Oh, she was.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
I think she was, if I remember correctly. I think she was. Yep, yeah, she was Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So this is not like her first Marvel role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, in episode 2, you see Vision start to question things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He's like questioning his coworker. What do we actually do here?
Right.
Was
it this episode? No, it's the next episode that he. Okay. Because I couldn't remember which episode he touched the guy's mind and he started saying help, like telling like what's going on.
Yeah, it was that same guy, but it wasn't. That happened when the show was already in color.
Yeah, I think that was the next episode, like when Wanda was pregnant.
Yeah. So we got those 2 episodes. We could see that they're kind of moving through the history of American sitcoms.
Right.
I remember thinking, well, maybe Wanda created this reality because as a kid in Sokovia, she was really into these American sitcoms.
Little did you know.
Little did I know.
Yeah.
Really? Was that a thing in the comic books or something? Or
No, I just got. My thinking was, if she's going to create a new reality, why this? Why these? Cornball. I mean, they're of their time,
Right.
but why these old classic sitcoms? Why would she make a reality centered around this? Why not something more realistic?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
it's you assume though that she was the one creating this reality. I thought it was someone else creating it for her.
I thought the
it
same
was
thing
her.
as well.
You thought it was
At the
someone else?
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning, especially when they did I don't think they had any after credit scenes or little extras after the main part of the first 2 episodes, but someone was viewing, right? And by the second episode, they had shown the TV or someone viewing, or
I thought it was the first episode they did that.
oh, did they? Okay,
So yeah, the first episode.
Fine, yeah. Then, and from the get-go, I pretty much thought that it was someone else that put her in this world. I didn't necessarily think that it was her that created it. But it's funny that you thought that. So,
Well, I mean, I know that she can create, or she can change reality at least.
Mm.
I think one of the most famous things she did was she said no more mutants.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that? And then mutants are gone. But she also created a reality kind of like this. It wasn't around sitcoms. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the comics, she created a reality and had kids in that reality.
Yeah.
And then they ended up coming out into the real, or, the 616 reality.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Then, episode 3, now in color. In a 1970 setting, Dr. Nielsen says Wanda's 4 months pregnant and everything's fine before leaving for an intended holiday with his wife. While Vision sees Nielsen outside, he sees his neighbor Herb unknowingly cutting through the wall. Wanda and Vision paint a nursery while debating what to name their child before Wanda's pregnancy elevates to 6 months. When she begins contractions, her abilities begin to move things in the house and eventually shut down the entire town's power. Geraldine arrives and helps Wanda deliver twins Billy and Tommy. Vision catches Agnes and Herb gossiping outside. They talk about Geraldine, who just arrived in town and does not have a home or family. Inside, Wanda interrogates Geraldine after the latter reveals that she knows Ultron killed Wanda's twin brother Pietro. Wanda notices that Geraldine is wearing a pendant with a sword emblem on it. When Vision returns, Geraldine is gone. Outside of Westview, Geraldine is cast out from a wall of static and is surrounded by sword agents.
So now we move on to the 70s, and this is Brady Bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I like to think we all know Brady Bunch. I mean, I think it's still in syndication up to this day. You can still turn on probably some cable channel and it's playing. But I did not realize this was going to be Monica Rambeau, and apparently Kevin Feige said that she was going to be in this show. I never heard that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it was highly known that she was going to be in the show.
Okay. Well, once she had the sword symbol on her necklace and Wanda pointed it out, I was like, oh, this is Monica Rambeau.
Well, I don't think we'd seen it in the first episode because of like the clothing style at that time.
Yeah, I'm talking this episode.
Right. And then like this episode, like it's more like 70s and everybody's wearing more of pendants at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it would have been more visible to be seen.
Yeah. And I think this episode is when you start to learn that Agnes is not who she seems. She might not be a part of this reality because she's coming in, she's asking Wanda, you want to do a new take? And she's spraying stuff on the babies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? And then she's outside with Herb. And for some reason, he's cutting into the wall.
Right.
Remember, he's like, should we say something? She's like, no. So was she controlling Herb at that point or Wanda?
See, and that's when it comes to become like a tricky situation. Like, it seems like Wanda had everybody still under mind control at that point, except for Agnes. Mm-hmm. And Agnes was kind of just playing along with everything.
Well, she must have been picking people out to to control.
Yeah.
So you think she was free of Wanda's control at that point?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She probably been for a while.
Because I thought that she was kind of just like glitching in and out. You know what I mean?
No, I think she understood what was going on, but she was just playing more along with what's happening at that time. Because remember, she would go back to her own house, and she still had her her little her little cave or hideout, whatever, in the basement.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Right.
So even if she was in there the whole time, Wanda's magic wasn't affecting her even in that basement. So she would still probably retained all her memories because she wasn't been affected either way.
But it did affect her maybe every now and then because I mean,
we'll get to that.
Right. That's yeah.
So this episode was pretty good. It was kind of nice to see. It's like Wanda's powers kind of haywiring out and everything. But this one, it was an okay episode. I mean, I think this one could have just been fast forward a little bit. It really did. It felt like it didn't really progress the story much, but it kind of gave you a little bit. It's like still more breadcrumbs of what's to come. Yeah, it just didn't feel like a progression episode.
And this is the episode where she gave birth to the kids.
Yes,
Wicked and Speed. Yeah, Wicked and Speed. And they started growing really fast, and she was surprised by it. So I don't even think this was resolved in the show. Was she causing those kids to grow up so fast, or Agnes?
I think it was more Wanda at that point.
Okay. Because she seemed surprised by it too, but then they were causing themselves to grow up fast, weren't they?
I think so. Yeah, there was some parts it seemed like they were kind of like they were speeding their own growth along.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
What would be the reason for that though?
Judge said my wife went to school with Catherine Hahn. Damn. So your wife should keep I kept in contact with her. But hey, Catherine, how you doing? How you doing, girl? I see you making it big out here in Hollywood. You Hollywood child, Hollywood kid.
Okay, you added you into the wrench crew?
Yes, I did. Because there was nobody here to moderate. Judge just came in.
Oh boy. I'm just messing with Ewan. Yeah, but Wanda says something about her brother.
Yes. No, no, yeah.
Yeah, Monica. She does. She mentioned.
I thought you said Wanda. I'm sorry. I thought you said Wanda.
I did. Wanda mentions her brother, and Monica says, "Oh yeah, he was killed by Ultron."
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
And Wanda's like, "What? You know, like, how would you know this? Who are you? What are you doing here? You don't belong here." And she, Scarlet Witches her out of that reality, out of what is now being called, or maybe not yet, but they're calling it the Hex.
Mm-hmm.
The sword people are calling it the Hex.
Because it was shaped like a hexagon.
Yeah. So she got shoved out of the bubble, landed in a field, and you see swarm agents or sword agents swarm her. And boom, end of episode. You got to wait a week to see what happens.
All right. And then we interrupt this program where it shows how Monica comes back from the blip and find out that her mother has passed away from cancer since she was gone. Then she goes back to Sword to work and finds out there's a new acting director, Tyler Hayward, is there, and he sends her on a case to help the FBI agent Jimmy Woo from everybody remembers from Ant-Man. He's looking for a missing persons in the area, and they discover this hexstatic field. And then let's see, and then within 24 hours, Sword establishes a base around the town, sends drones in and an agent to investigate. Darcy Lewis studies the phenomena and discovers broadcast signals from the sitcom WandaVision. They use these to observe events in town and learning the real residents have been cast in the sitcom, and seeing Monica appear as Geraldine, Darcy, and Jimmy unsuccessfully attempt to use the radio to contact Wanda. When Monica mentions Ultron, Wanda casts her out of town. Wanda then temporarily sees Vision appear as he did when dead before settling back into her sitcom life with him.
Yeah, so this was almost a complete break from the Hex.
Yes.
This episode was pretty much all out in the real world.
Yeah.
By the way, Randall Park, or Jimmy Woo, played by Randall Park, who has awesome comedic timing. That guy has me cracking up. He can say the most mundane thing, and I'm like dying. You know,
he's awesome. But he forgot that he even starred in The Office.
I've never seen it.
You never? Oh my goodness, yo, it was hilarious. He plays Jim Harper, and he's supposed to be like the age of Jim Harper. So Jim had a doctor's appointment that day, and he's sitting in the field with Jim, and nobody comes to him like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Jim." He's like, "No, you're not." He's like, "Jim's white." Oh, I'm glad you've never seen color before. Hey, thanks. It's hilarious. He's like, no. And he looks at the picture frame. Is Jimmy Woo?
I remember him from. He played Kim Jong Il, the father, the one that died in that movie with Seth Rogen and.
Yes, the one that was like, it was like banned in so many places.
Yeah. He played. He's done a lot of pretty good comedy flicks. So I like him.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, that just blew my mind. I forgot about that movie. I didn't realize that he was playing the. Yeah, so good. But I really like seeing another side of the blip. You know, something away from the Avengers, something that's out in the real world, how it's all happening. You know, she just wakes up in the hospital where she was blipped away from.
Yo, that hospital was jam-packed busy. Yeah. Like, everybody started popping up like, yo, who the hell are you? Wait a minute, where'd you come from? Like, that's gotta be messed up.
This episode, refresh my memory, was it like a facts of life kind of setting? Or what was
that was the next one, because this one, there was really nothing in the Hex in this episode, if I remember right.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit.
This is more leading up to like Monica trying to get back to work, you know, getting over her mother's death, and her just meeting Jimmy Woo and them setting up, you know, how they can get Monica out of there, because Monica first got sucked in with Jimmy when Jimmy was standing there. He's like, no, he's like, don't, and then she got like sucked in.
Yeah. And then she goes to see what's his face, the dude in charge, and right off the bat, I could tell that he's up to no good.
Oh yeah.
This was very much Monica's episode.
Oh, sorry. The main thing we did forget to go over is it shows fake footage of Wanda taking Vision's body. Because remember, he's like, yeah, Wanda came in, just took everything, took Vision. I think it was this episode, wasn't it?
Yeah. I do remember that.
I think you're right.
I think it was this episode.
And we also got to see the other side. I think it was like, I watched each episode one time, maybe twice. So I might be getting this confused with another episode, but this is the episode where we see the sword agent go in through the sewer. And as he passed in through the Hex, he became a beekeeper. And that was the beekeeper we saw in episode 2 when he popped out of the sewer.
Did they ever say what happened to that man? Because I know she said no, and she reversed, like she rewound everything. Did they ever say what happened to that guy?
No, I think it was just a dude.
He might have just became part of her world. I don't know.
Because he came up to the sewer like that. Like, they just that. Now think about it, like, yo, like they did kind of gloss over him. Like, yo, that man could be dead somewhere and down the sewer. Like, yo, like nobody's searching for him.
But this also, but this also explained how stuff like that was happening. Like, they sent in a drone, and it turned into a toy helicopter, and it was red. It had color. But this guy didn't have color when he popped out of the sewer.
No, he was still in the black and white phase.
Yeah. And so they go back in the house after she does the rewind thing, and then it like becomes color.
I think because he was a person more than like a like an inanimate object, like a vehicle or anything like that, or a toy.
No, I'm totally mixed up. It was already color in. Yeah, no, it became color after she, in the previous episode, said no and did the rewind thing, and then they were back in the house.
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of became color, right?
That's
I remember this right?
But yeah, there was a red helicopter sitting in the bush that she found.
That was episode 2.
Yeah, I think it was episode 2 because it was still black and white, and it was the only thing that was brightly colored. That was like right before the magic show. They went to the meeting before the ladies' meeting, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get to also in this episode we get to meet the villain that everyone loves to hate.
Mephisto?
Nope. No. See, this show's all about setting stuff up and then just letting everyone down. So it was just Tyler Hayward, Director Hayward, played by Josh Stamberg, one of the biggest wet farts of this series.
Yeah.
Like, he was a good bad guy, and they're trying to make you think he's someone. Right?
We've seen him before. We've seen this kind of character before in the Marvel universe. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know where we've seen it before? It was the last show that got like 6 seasons.
Shield?
Agents of Shield. Yeah.
Agents of Shield. Yeah, I tapped out on that. Like half.
I tapped out second season. I'm like, this is stupid.
I think it was like after Ghost Rider, I tapped out.
Exactly. I saw Ghost Rider, I think, and I was like, oh.
Like, I had to see Ghost Rider. Like, yeah.
You could have replaced Hayward with Thunderbolt Ross, and it would have been kind of the same character. You know, he's working for the good guys, but he's a dick. You know what I mean?
My question is, they never explain like how they get his body out of Wakanda.
Well, they probably just flew down and took it, or maybe Wakandans.
You don't fly down to Wakanda and just takes things. Like, come on now, let's be real about that. Nobody's flying in Wakanda and just taking things.
Yeah, half the world just got snapped. Things are in disarray.
They're probably providing aid or something. You know, government's there. You know,
or maybe you found him in a random part of the jungle where all the fighting was at, and somebody said, "Hey, Joe, come here, look at this. I found something."
I doubt that one of the Avengers would leave his body there. You know, maybe it could have been Rhodey, it could have been,
but that's
Captain America.
Like, why didn't they take it back to the Wakanda village and like have Shuri look at it?
Or maybe the Hobbit from the Black Panther movie was like, "Hey, can we get that body?" And they're like, "Yeah, we like you."
But he wasn't there. He wasn't even there. No, like he wasn't.
He could have been. It could have happened off camera.
See, and that's the problem. A lot of things happen off camera that they don't explain.
Yeah, true. Yeah. That's one of the. Well, we'll get to it, but
yeah,
maybe they explained it in a comic that we haven't read.
Nah, they come on, like Marvel. Come on, we're talking about Marvel here. We're not talking about like a regular studio. This is Marvel.
But I mean,
they do it for Star Wars.
Star Wars does it just because they know people are gonna have a lot of questions and start fighting. They're gonna be fighting either way,
and they'll do it in the comic book really poorly.
Yeah,
you know,
it'll be some half-ass story like, "Oh, this is how he got here," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I mean, not to talk about Star Wars too much, but Maz Kanata's like, "That's a good story for a different day about this lightsaber." Well, it's been 6 years. We still don't know. You know. But we know how 3PO got his red arm because they made a comic about that.
Did you tell me? Do you remember?
I know they did. Right? Yeah, it was when I tried to get into digital comics and I read it and I forgot it because it was dumb. It was really dumb. But anyway,
yeah, you knew.
WandaVision.
Episode 5 on this very special episode. In 1980s, early 1990s setting, Wanda and Vision struggle to stop Billy and Tommy from crying. Agnes offers to help to look after the boys, but Vision questions her behavior. He and Wanda are interrupted when Billy and Tommy suddenly age up to 5 years old. When a dog appears at the house, the boys ask to keep it, and Agnes suggested the name Sparky. Wanda almost reveals her abilities to Agnes concerning Vision while the boys age up to 10 years old. At work, Vision reads an email from Sword that reveals the situation Westview. He breaks through to a real Westview resident and learns that Wanda's controlling the town. Sword sends in a drone from the 1980s into Westview, which causes Sparky to run off. Hayward orders the drone to be used to kill Wanda, but she emerges from the barrier with it and warns Hayward to leave her alone. Agnes finds Sparky dead. Vision confronts Wanda about her actions. They're interrupted when Pietro arrives. Watching the broadcast, Darcy notes that Pietro has been recast.
Yeah. So this was when we move into the 80s and it's family ties. Like that opening. The opening credits are totally family ties. I think they were even doing like when they're painting the family portrait.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they worked that in. It was like, this is straight out of Family Ties. Where's Michael J. Fox?
I think this was my favorite episode just because of the ending. I was like, oh man, that's so awesome that they found a way to get X-Men Quicksilver in the episode. So man, it's like for me, oh, you're disappointed, Dante. For me, like every episode got better and better, and for me, this might be like the crescendo, you know. So I kind of lost a little bit of interest after this one.
I was fine. Like everybody was like, "Oh snap! It's Fox Quicksilver! Yay!" I'm like, "Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up. Just because you see him there doesn't mean that it's Fox Quicksilver."
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's supposed to be Pietro. She called him Pietro,
Right.
and the girl from Thor was like, "She recast Pietro."
Yeah,
they chose him to play Pietro to troll the audience. That's a troll.
Hold on. Didn't they do that already? Oh yeah, everybody forgot about Iron Man 3 with Mandarin, huh?
Yeah, and everyone hated that too.
There you go. They
Yeah.
don't care what you think. They're like, "Hey, we got you." Hey, guess what? We'll put Pietro in. He'll be for Fox. He'll be a laugh riot. We'll get him.
I mean, they're not. Do they not want people to stick around?
No, they got you. They're like, "We got
that's
you."
horrible.
Got you.
I think it's people that hate fans, and they're like, "What can we do to piss off fans?" And I mean, I wasn't even pissed off. I'm just like, "This is stupid." Why would? It's like you're dropping these hints, or you're trying to set something up, and then nothing pans out. Why? It's not good writing. It doesn't bring you back to watch it again. You know, it doesn't make you excited for what's next. It's just like, well, are they going to do this again? You know what I mean? And I don't want like the Fox universe to be part of the MCU.
Really?
But the fact that we're going into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I wouldn't mind some crossover, but I don't want like Hugh Jackman to be the Wolverine of the MCU. I think, and not because he's not an excellent Wolverine, he's getting a little old, and we need some longevity here from the actors. You know what I mean?
If they did do this, the only person I would want to come over is Patrick Stewart and Michael Fassbender, because Patrick Stewart was a perfect Professor X, and Michael Fassbender was
very
like a perfect.
old.
Yeah, but Michael Fassbender was a perfect Magneto.
I would like
think
that.
they could fit him into the MCU now that they kind of hinted at the ideas of mutants, because later on we'll understand that we're hinted to the part that she had powers already.
Yeah, before they messed with her with the Infinity Stone. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ryan, why are you anti-mixing the Fox and Marvel Studios universe?
So I like probably half of the Fox movies.
I mean,
so
I
don't have anything. Yeah, I don't have anything against them. The ones that I like anyway. But it's gonna create, like, the Fox universe itself had so many inconsistencies, and they would just change things movie to movie with no explanation, and things didn't work and didn't fit. And I think if they were just trying to bring, they were here all along or whatever, it's just not going to work.
You think it'll the MCU canon?
Yeah, I think they need to establish their own canon when it comes to X-Men and Fantastic Four.
You'd rather like Clean Slate, they kind of just introduce these recast characters in the Marvel movies. Like,
I think they need to totally.
Yeah.
No,
even though I liked a lot of the, I liked Hugh Jackman. I liked Patrick Stewart. Now Patrick Stewart's he's really old.
Yes.
I don't think he has much Professor X left in him. Really.
I'm sure.
Maybe.
Oh, come on.
He probably has more Professor X in him than Picard, because at least he's sitting in a wheelchair all day.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
But no. What if they cherry pick some of like these your favorite? You wouldn't be for that.
As long actors. Well, I guess some of the actors would be cool. But I don't want them to be that version, the Fox version. You said not permanently.
There were some good actors in the Fox versions.
Yes,
Like,
there was. I'm not saying there wasn't. I'm
I
just
know,
saying the actors I wouldn't mind. It's the actual characters.
The portrayal of the characters and the stuff that happened to them and all that.
Yeah. I think the MCU needs to start fresh with X-Men and Fantastic Four.
which I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. Next episode is episode 6, All New Halloween Spooktacular. In the late 1990s, early 2000 settings, Wanda wants to spend Tommy and Billy's first Halloween together as a family, but Vision tells her he is going to patrol the streets with the neighborhood watch. Pietro offers to step in as a father figure and take the boys trick-or-treating, causing mischief with their super speed, which Tommy is revealed to have inherited. Meanwhile, Vision explores further away from the house and finds residents of Westview standing frozen in positions, including Agnes. Vision speaks to Agnes' real self. She tells him that he is dead. Outside Westview, Hayward orders Monica, Darcy, Jimmy to lead the base for disagreeing with his decision to attack Wanda, but they sneak inside. They hack into the computer and discover that he's been tracking Vision's vibranium signature. Vision tries to push through the static wall, but he begins to disintegrate. Billy senses and tells Wanda, who expands the hexagonal static wall. Vision, Darcy, and several SWORD agents are enveloped in the new boundary.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good episode. I like this one.
Yeah, I thought it was solid.
Yeah.
This is the one where, so yeah, she expanded the boundary. So they came in at the end though, so we didn't see Darcy.
Yeah, we just Darcy was in this episode.
She was in it, but she wasn't in the hex till the very end.
Right,
and then we see what.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah,
because you can't go to the. Yeah, that's all I watch it for is some Darcy. I like me some Darcy.
And Vision, like in the last episode, he's yelling at Wanda. Like, what's going on? I don't know who I am. And that was really, what's his name? Plays Vision.
Paul Bettany.
Yeah, he was acting his ass off in that scene. That was great.
Yes, episode
Paul
6,
Bettany.
as James White said, was a Malcolm in the Middle episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
that always reminds me of Family Guy.
Yeah.
Remember when like Peter Griffin goes to, I think, Japan, or they go to China or something? And he thinks everyone is Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, it's Jackie Chan. Hey, it's Jackie Chan." And then dude comes up to him. He goes, "Hey, it's Malcolm in Middle."
Yeah.
And he points at Peter Griffin. So whenever I hear Malcolm in Middle, I'm like, "Oh man, Family Guy."
Yeah.
So great.
Don Draper is very true. He's like, "I'm not gonna lie, Wanda's costume in the Halloween episode was hot." Yes, it was. She's doing a little dance. I was like, go ahead, Garrett. Get it on. I'm going to be dancing with you.
Yeah, I love those throwback costumes. That was great.
Except his, that tired old, they should have put Paul Bettany in that plastic. Yeah, it looked ragged. That costume looked ragged.
You know what I thought when I was watching? I was like, okay, if the old Hulk show had Wanda and Vision in it, that's exactly what they would look like. Because they brought in Daredevil and Thor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was like, going to say they would be able to exist right next to Spider-Man in the old 70s.
See Vision like,
yes.
I am awesome. I am an android. What do you need me to do? Like, oh damn, they fucked up Vision.
And then Quicksilver with the super exaggerated
hair.
I mean, people say I have good hair. That dude has good hair. Those things were like, what did he use? Like Elmer's glue?
Probably.
They probably put like a wire in it, like they do in like the Cape. So.
Yeah. Yep. But we see him using his powers, and he's like being a good uncle to the kids.
Yeah.
And Speed is running around, and I think Wiccan was doing stuff with his powers.
I think his had just he just kicked in when Vision broke through the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, and Vision is continually he's kind of waking up to things like this isn't right. Something's off. And he's noticing people in the neighborhood, and they're like automatons. The lady's just back and forth with her clothesline,
Yeah. Episode 7, Breaking the Fourth Wall. In a mid to late 2000 setting, Wanda decides to have a day to herself, and Agnes agrees to babysit Tommy and Billy. Wanda sees various parts of the house constantly changing and is unable to control them. Vision wakes up to find the SWORD agents inside the boundary are now members of Circus. He releases Darcy from the spell. She tells Vision about his death and events that led to the current situation. Outside of Westview, Monica and Jimmy meet with loyal Sword personnel and obtain a vehicle that should be able to cross the barrier. With it, when this is unsuccessful, Monica decides to enter her sub. She passes a static wall and emerges with seemingly heightened vision, which is not right. They didn't write this crap right. When Monica confronts Wanda, Agnes tells Monica to leave and takes Wanda to her house. Wanda looks for the boys in the basement and discovers a strange lair. Agnes introduces herself as a witch named Agatha Harkness and reveals that she's been interfering with Wanda, including by setting Pietro imposter and killing Sparky. And I'm the one who killed Sparky.
Yeah, she went full on Wizard of Oz, Wicked Witch of the West in this one.
Yeah. This was my episode right here. When they hit that Agatha music at the end, I was like, yo, Agatha, I ain't mad at you, girl. I ain't mad at you. You won. You're like the Grinch. You're a mean one. Agatha Harkness. Yo.
I was like, Agatha. I was hoping for something a little bit.
You were hoping for Mephisto like everybody else.
No,
and they got you. They got everybody. Everybody already knew when they heard the name Agatha, like, yo, it's Agatha Harkness, who might be working for Mephisto. And it was like, nah, you won't get the devil just yet. We'll give you some little dark magic, but you won't get the devil.
But
no devil here. No devil yet, no.
Is it good when they get you? I mean, because I don't want to be gotten. I just want something cool, something good.
But they never promised Mephisto, though.
No, I never said anything about Mephisto.
Right. But I think that's how a lot of people felt. Is like this is leading up to Mephisto, and no, I'm sorry, it wasn't. Like everybody, and I think that's what turned everybody off on this because they were like, "Yo, there's no Mephisto. You just had Agatha. What was the whole point of all of this?"
To be honest with you guys, this is kind of when I stopped looking forward to next week's episode.
Same here, and I don't get the hype over the song. Like everyone on the internet loves that song, and I'm just like, eh.
Yo, that's the song. Come on,
hey, if you like it, I got no problem with that. I'm just saying, for me, I was like, it's kind of where it started to jump the shark for me too.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. Okay, so I did read an article, and this whole thing is about grieving. It didn't have, like, a lot of people missed that. It's about grieving. She was grieving.
Yeah, and torturing a whole town of people.
Hold on. She lost her brother. She lost Vision. Like, she lost, like, two people
and
that
her
were
parents.
close to her. And her parent. Well, she lost them when she was young. But we're like talking like more of like in a recent couple, like back-to-back couple of years.
Mm.
She was going through a hard time. And this is what, like, her and Vision this is what their plan was, to live out their life here in this town. And it didn't happen. It was just her. And her grief overtook her. Everybody's looking for something like, hey, it's got to be rooted in this. It's got to be this and this and this. But it wasn't. And I think that's what a lot of people missed the point on this. Like, when you go back and look through it. Good.
I never cared about Mephisto. I just wanted to watch the show and see what happened. And
I'm not saying just for the people you care about Mephisto. I think people are just looking for some deeper meaning into the show and looking for that bigger bad guy that it was leading to. And they're like, they didn't give it to us. But that's like if you're watching like The Mandalorian and you're looking like, oh my goodness, it's going to lead to this bigger bad guy that you may think that might be coming up in the next season, and it doesn't. That's not what they were planning to lead to.
Well, people are always looking for Easter eggs that are not there, a lot of the times, So the Mephisto thing, I wasn't looking for Mephisto necessarily. I just thought it was going to be maybe a villain that had maybe exist in other series that after this. Maybe they'll conquer. This villain will lose the battle, but he'll come back to fight the war. And Agatha is not that. I was just let down by the caliber, I guess, of the villain. From Marvel has so many great villains, especially in the Avengers, that they could have chose from. I mean, maybe you could say that Agatha, kind of pushed the Scarlet Witch character to the forefront and not so much like the Wanda character, which is what we've been given this entire time. It's like her graduation series. I get that, but maybe Agatha could have been working for somebody that they could have introduced at the very end. I don't know.
Okay, so let me throw this out there. So let's just say, and Doctor Strange next movie, the Multiverse of Madness, we know Baron Mordo's still out there. What if he finds Agatha by magic? Because she is technically a magic user, and he can sense magic as well. What if he brings her into that world?
I don't even think Baron is big enough. Like, I want like a B plus A minus tier villain somehow being set up, maybe in the series, maybe in the series immediately following after, to some breadcrumbs of that villain. Like, maybe Agatha could have been like I said, she could have been the main villain of the series, which she was. But at the very end, if they gave us a breadcrumb of a larger villain that might be introduced, or at least gets us thinking, not like thinking Easter egg, but thinking like, yeah, that for sure, that's got to be so and so. But they didn't do that. It's like, that's why after this, man, I'm just like, man.
Well, look, the villain of this series is Wanda.
Yeah.
She did all the bad stuff. I mean,
her grief made her the villain. Honestly, yeah. Her grief made her the villain.
Yeah, Wanda is the bad guy.
Sure.
And, I mean,
Vision is our avatar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what that is what motivated her to evil, to commit evil, is her grief, which is actually a good motivation, right? Like, that makes sense, character-wise, storytelling-wise.
At any point, though, did you feel like you didn't like Wanda? Like, you looked at her as a villain?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. In the final episode, which okay. I was like, well, she kind of sucks. And then, are we in the final episode yet? Or are we still on?
No, not yet.
We got 2 more episodes. So,
okay.
Episode 8, we get the backstory of Agatha, how she was part of the Coven of Witches, and her mother was trying to kill her, but she had found a way that she can sap the powers of other witches by reading the Darkhold. And we get a little bit more into where she takes Wanda on a kind of almost like a vision quest back through her childhood, showing that she had that probability of luck of that bomb not going off in the house and them staying alive for 3 days. So at that point, it was hinted that there might be some mutant powers out there that are latent, that we haven't seen yet, that haven't been talked about yet. Maybe we haven't seen that Xavier school yet. Professor Xavier is still, raising his new recruits. They're still young in this time. Because look at Spider-Man. Look how young he is in this era, in this time frame. So we might still get a green Scott, a Beast who's still green. A young original X-Men, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast, Angel. Like, they're not ready for the world yet.
That would be cool.
Might not be ready for them yet.
Love that.
I would love that.
Job.
And then give Wolverine his own movie, set up his backstory, and then bring him into X-Men.
Yeah, or that's one of their first missions.
Yeah,
as a young team. We got this weapon facility that we heard about in Canada. And they run to Alpha Flight. There you go. The Canadian team that hey, this is our land. You can't be coming across in here and starting any trouble with it. But we get that, and then as we see on, she's been just stricken with grief. Because remember, and also you got to remember too, she was blamed in Captain America: Civil War for killing those people. So she really has not had an easy road from here.
Right. But the way she's acting is not making it better. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's just becoming worse.
But the thing is, I think she was more overwhelmed. She's been holding all this in. She's been overwhelmed by it, and it just came out like this. It wasn't on purpose, but yeah, I can view her as the bad guy of this episode because she kept the whole town under mind control and didn't want to relinquish it because she wanted that perfect life that she and Vision had built, that wanted to build.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily see her as the villain like you guys did, but I did think, I remember talking to my wife saying she's selfish, she's doing this just because. So
yeah, because regardless of that grief, that's no excuse for doing what she did.
Right.
You can't bring a whole town under basically mind slavery, force them to do what you want through her mental powers or whatever. And then we're not in the final episode yet, so
yeah. And then the final episode shows the showdown between Agatha and Wanda. And then in the episode we get to see the White Vision as he's activated by director Hayward. And then we see the fight between the made up Vision and the White Vision have a philosophical debate in a library, which was it was a deep thing. It was a deep thinking plot right there.
I really liked that part. That was cool, man. And I like that. Well, that's the original Vision body, right? Reassembled and put back together by Hayward and Sword. And then he had to use the power from the Hex to bring it to life. Basically, that's what he said, right?
Yep.
That's what Hayward did. So that was really cool. And he was more controlled by Hayward. He wasn't like really his own person, Vision. And so his mission was to go in and kill the Vision.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, well, if you take the planks from the same ship that I rotted and rebuilt the ship, is it still the same ship? I was like, damn. Yeah. He's hitting himself with some philosophical stuff. Like, yo, like this is what you did to Ultron. Like, yo, you just talked him down from the bridge. Like, yo.
Yeah. Speaking of Ultron, what I did like about these last few episodes is how they kind of put a little bit more emphasis on the Ultron movie. I know, like, Ultron is not the most popular of the Avengers movies. I think most fans think it's probably like one of the worst ones. But I like how it made it a little bit more important by tying in this series to the movie. I actually liked Ultron.
Me too.
It's a little underrated, but I like how they kind of pepped it up with this, tying all this stuff into it. And the White Vision stuff, I love that part. Yeah. Everything else around it, not so much.
Now, I did love Monica in this because she actually started, you started seeing more of her powers in action. We haven't seen her at her full strength, but now that we know she's going to probably go with Nick Fury, we know she's going to be that all-out awesomeness. Probably better than Captain Marvel in general. I'm sorry. Like, yo, Brie Larson just like a downer Captain Marvel.
I'm all for her becoming Captain Marvel. That'd be awesome. And the way they did her powers at school, I thought it was a little lazy the way they, like, her backstory to how she got her powers. It was kind of like it was just like Captain Marvel, big explosion, I'm super powerful, and then with Monica they just kind of rushed it through and she has powers now. But I get it, I guess they didn't have enough time
really to rush it through. Because remember they said the second time, Darcy said the second time she went in there, it was going to change her DNA because her DNA was already rewritten once. And she said she went back in, her DNA was going to get rewritten again, and who knows what would happen to her at that point. So they didn't kind of like they made it a point because remember when they were doing X-rays, they were like, it came out all white, we can't find anything.
Yeah.
So they like we got to get another X-ray. That was a hint right there, like something's not right with her DNA. And then when she went back in, it connected with something, so it changed her to now what we're going to be known as probably Spectrum. Because she remember, because when she first dropped in, she was seeing all like the spectrums of light, which was pretty cool. I like how they did that because if you didn't know about that, you wouldn't know what she was looking at. I was laughing at what Tony said. He's like, I'm watching this preparing Avengers Cataract. What a great show, guys! Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Alex. No,
I was
you
going
go.
to say, I kind of felt like they wrapped up the whole thing a bit too quickly. There was a lot of soul sucking in this, a lot of flying and soul sucking going on, and I think they spent a little bit too much time on like the fighting stuff, and like because then they fight, everything is resolved. The dude is being led away in handcuffs. I just felt like they kind of hurried everything along a little bit in this episode, but
yeah.
We still have some unanswered. Like, where did White Vision go? Like, dude, you just dipped in the middle of a fight.
Well, he'll be back. I mean, my theory with that is that because he transferred his memories and his thoughts to him, right? And
Well, no, he unlocked them. You remember he said all your memories are still locked inside you. He said you just need them unlocked, right?
So he's got vision, real vision,
right?
Brain or motion or whatever the hell, like he remembers his previous life now, and he just took off. So
which is weird to me because if all that was unlocked, then he would remember his relationship with Wanda, and at that same time she was fighting with Agatha. So he's just going to fly away and leave, maybe leave Wanda to die. He's not going to go help her out because is he now the Vision we knew before Infinity War?
He has the memories of Infinity, like of the time when the Mind Stones getting ripped out of his head. So he has all those memories beforehand.
So it must be the memories must just be like data and not like feelings. You know what I mean? Like maybe he's not. Yeah. Yeah, but man, he looked cool.
Yeah.
He was like Dr. Manhattan, be on the moon, like contemplating stuff.
Yeah. It's like the White Vision always acted like he was following directive. He wasn't acting like he was following emotionally or anything like that. Until the very end when he allowed Wanda fake Vision to kind of explain things to him, and then that's kind of when he was like, oh, where am I gotta get the hell out of here. But I think he'll be back.
Oh, for sure. White Vision's coming back. Yeah.
But I mean, as regular,
I think so. This is just a random thought. I think a multiverse of madness is when he comes back for her. Like he sorts through everything, and he finally comes back to her, and brings her, like, kind of talks off that ledge of being like that Scarlet Witch.
What I would have liked to see was, okay, so we know that Vision in the Hex is not real. He's a construct of Wanda's abilities.
Yeah.
I would have liked to seen her, like, basically take the mind of her construct and insert it into White Vision. Right? So you would have that White Vision with his unlocked memories, but then he gets the personality of fake Vision. See what I'm saying?
But she wouldn't be able to do that. She couldn't do that because that's just her processed memories of what she remembers of him.
But then at the end of the episode, when she's in the Bob Ross painting out in the woods, right? And she's going through the book, the Dark Side book, you can hear her kids screaming, "Help, Mom!"
But the thing is, he was already gone by that point. He was gone by that point.
I know. I'm saying, if her kids are still around somewhere, why couldn't that fake Vision be around somewhere? Because her kids were fake too. They were part of the construct. That's what I'm saying.
I understand. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, but I think more of him was just like a part of her grief. They come into a full term and understanding, like, he wasn't real, but they lived a life, almost like 10 times over, you could say, in this little town.
She said that he was part of the Mind Stone that was still in her,
right? Because
she got messed with by the Mind Stone from the Hydra guys. So, I mean, they could have done that. They didn't. It's fine. We got Vision. We got a Vision back. Yeah. Because I didn't want to see Vision stay dead. He's Vision's awesome. He's a cool character. So I'm glad we got at least a version of him back in the MCU. But then So Agatha is defeated, and she puts her back in the mind meld, right? So she thinks she's Agnes again. I guess that's permanent, even though the X goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's walking by, and this is my issue with how they treated Monica Rambeau. Monica Rambeau's like, "Oh yeah, you can go, see ya," even though you did all this evil stuff. Later, it's like, whoa. Wanda needs to face consequences for this. And I just don't see Monica Rambeau just letting her go. I thought that was ridiculous.
But she did it because she understood.
Yes,
remember she said,
"Who's to say she won't? Who's to say she won't do it again?"
She said she understood why she did it. She's like, because of the grief of her losing her mom and not being there when she died. So she understood, and that's why she kind of let her slide with this one.
Yeah, yes, but then she's going to have more grief. She's going to have more grief from losing her fake kids and fake vision. And who's to say she's not going to do it again? Something needs to happen.
Right. But
I would have liked to see Monica Rambeau step in and be like, "Look, I get why you did this, but you need to come with us."
And what?
And Don Draper has a good point. Like, what are they going to really do to stop her? Like, yo, she hex everybody and just dip out.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to be able. I mean, Doctor Strange could probably get her under control.
Yeah. Who's going? Nobody has him on speed dial.
I mean, he's in what? He's in New York, right? On the Upper East Side. Yeah. Where's
But,
is that right?
Who's going? But Sword has him on speed dial, though. You're telling me the director who was just trying to kill Wanda has him on speed dial. Jimmy Woo's got him on speed dial. He can probably call your boy. What's his name? Damn.
If they would have just said, "Look, we can't stop you because we know how powerful you are, and we don't want to be living in a Dick Van Dyke show. We'd appreciate it if you came with us."
She wouldn't have did that.
We'll try to work this out, but at least just say it so that Monica Rambeau doesn't look like a dummy.
The thing is, like, they already made her look like a bad guy anyway. They said that she came in and took Vision's body when she really didn't. Yeah, this is like the second time she looked like a bad guy.
Yeah, well, then at the end of the actual series, well, she's a bad guy because now she's got a dark side book and she's doing bad stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, then she was already living, and then she was already mad because of the Sokovia Accords. Because she remember her and Vision got into an argument.
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot. So it's like I'm not going to want to be on house arrest again. Nah, screw y'all out of here. I know I messed up. Peace, I'm out.
I'm not even saying like put her in prison or anything. I'm just saying like figure something out, talk to her, work this out so it doesn't happen again. Because these people suffered for a long time, and they're going to have lasting damage.
And we see what happened with that when Vision tried to do that. She was like, "I'm going to go." He's like, "No, I can't let you leave." What do you mean you can't? You saying I can't?
I understand how
he
it could go.
Sunk his ass down to the bottom of that building.
I understand how it could go. I'm saying they should have at least acknowledged it so that they don't all look stupid.
They were all going to look stupid either way. Because what they're going to do?
I'm saying for the audience. I'm saying for the audience because these movies are basically good versus evil. You want to see the good do good, and you want to see evil overcome. So at least say something. We can't just let her go.
Okay,
we have to. If they said, "Oh, we can't just let her go. We have to do something about this," and someone said, "We have to let her go. She's too powerful." Fine, I'm satisfied.
So
that's good.
So every time that we let Bucky, so they're letting Bucky run around, should they go ahead and arrest him too?
Well, they took care of that. They got that.
But he did bad. But even though even though he's mind control, should they go and arrest him too?
Well,
because he did bad things. He blew things.
Yeah, they tried. See,
they tried to, and you see what happened when they tried to. So
and then it was explained. His mind was fixed, and they knew he was no longer a threat, and he was on the side of good, not evil.
How did they know that though? Like, you can tell me his mind's fixed, but I may not believe that his mind's fixed. I want to bring him in and know that his mind's fixed.
They showed him getting his mind fixed in Wakanda at the end of Civil War. The Wakandans were helping him out.
I understand that, but the U.S.
and the Wakandans.
But you know how the
Wakandans were working with the Wakandans were working with Shield,
right?
That dude from Shield. Well, he wasn't Shield. I think he was FBI.
No. Was he? I think it was. I forget if he was he FBI.
They should get about 30 confirmed kills. Oh yeah, he killed a lot of people under mind control though. Yeah.
And he killed Tony Stark's parents. Yo,
and Tony Stark wanted to kill him. He's like, and that's why him and Cap were fighting. So Tony was trying to like, yo, he killed my parents. I'm gonna have to do something. I'm not gonna be. Oh well, you can go.
But if you got an Avengers card, you get a free pass. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If you got an Avengers card, you get a free pass. That's all. Let's just call it like it is.
Yes, CIA.
Your Avenger?
Tyrone corrected me. He was CIA. The Hobbit.
If you got Avengers card, ID card, you get a free pass. All right, you get this one free pass for being a bag. Okay. All right, now get on out here. I'm gonna let me catch you out the streets now. You know we got these guns. No, that's all it was.
But the good thing is, she is the villain now, and it looks like she will probably be the villain in Doctor Strange 2, or at least she will maybe be in cahoots with the villain of Doctor Strange 2.
Something in Darkhold is going to take over. I have a feeling something with the Darkhold is going to take over. I can't say it's going to be Mephisto, or maybe Dormammu trying to reach out, or Baron Mordo.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Baron Mordo.
I'm sure Mordo will be back.
Yeah.
But another thing, and we kind of touched on this earlier. The lamest part was they brought in Quicksilver from the X-Men movies. You want to say it? He's not Quicksilver.
He turned out to be an actor. He had a headshot or something.
Yeah.
But
and his name?
Actor. What's that?
And his name?
Oh,
Mike Boner, something like that.
Ralph.
Yeah, it was Boner.
Ralph Boner. Hey guys, we're gonna bring in Quicksilver, but he's not Quicksilver. He's Ralph Boner. Haha, gotcha. Man, I was like, this is stupid.
Okay, so was he an actor that Sword sent in?
No, so everybody thinks that he's the guy that Jimmy Cho was looking for. Because remember when he showed up in Westview, he was looking for somebody. He's looking for a particular person. He never said who. Okay. Everybody assumes that it was Ralph Boner that he was looking for.
Well, I don't know if the writers are smart enough to have figured that one out. I just think they want to be like, we're going to get him. He's just Ralph Boner.
And you know what? Tyrone is right about this. Boner is an Easter egg for 80 sitcoms. Yeah. There's a lot of characters named Boner.
Head of the class, right? Was that the sitcom?
Growing Pains.
Yeah.
Well, was it Growing Pains?
Yeah, it was Chekhov's son played Boner.
Yeah. Thank you. You want to see what happens when we can be working together here? I'm not sure how to say that first name. Sithon or Chuton. Nightmare, Mephisto, and like Dante said, Mordo, Dormammu could be the villain of Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, Multiverse.
So it looks like Multiverse is shaping out to be a pretty important flick in the MCU, huh?
Yeah.
Looks like it, yeah.
Oh, here comes Judd. It'll be Dormammu has just released the updated figure. # Easter eggs. That's
a really good point.
Yeah. Actually, saying Growing Pains, they had the character named Boner. Don Draper said Mike's best friend was named Boner.
That's right. Yeah.
We got Don Draper in the chat. I love it.
I remember now. He was kind of doofy.
Yeah. So I mean that didn't bother me as much as it bothered people. Like I could care less about that. It's just a side character. He's just like whatever. He's a throwaway character to me.
It wouldn't have been
Quicksilver.
Because I knew he wasn't a real Quicksilver. That's why.
It wouldn't have been so bad if it wasn't played by whoever his name was.
Really? You prefer Kick-Ass as
the fact that he was Quicksilver in another movie and they brought him in as Pietro. Evan Peters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the fact that he wasn't really a Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't a Quicksilver.
No, he wasn't. He was Ralph Boner.
He was Quicksilver in the Fox movies, sir.
That's the problem. You can't bring him in from the Fox movies and call him Quicksilver, and then at the end be like, "Psych, he's Ralph Boner." Gotcha. Da 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 da. You can't do that. That's stupid.
They never promised. Like you know,
I don't care what they promised. They set it up. That's a troll. You don't troll your audience.
Yeah.
That's what Ryan Johnson does. He trolls the audience. He has Luke throw the lightsaber over his shoulder.
Well, Paul Bettany trolled everybody again too, because I forgot. Kevin said like when Paul Bettany gave that great interview, he's like, I can't wait to work with this great actor. He was just talking about himself, having a conversation with himself. Come on, man.
Apparently, he got
a troll.
Yeah, it was a troll, but it wasn't in the writing of the show. That was just the actor's offhanded comment to probably someone interviewing him. And I guess he got talked to about that. Like, I heard that like Feige or something said something about it. But
oh yeah,
I just want to give my final thoughts. I liked the show up to a point. It was really cool. I think it was really well done, really well acted. Up until like the last 3 episodes where it just kind of puttered out. It let me down. But I like that they tried something new. It wasn't just villain of the week type of show. It was an overall story with cliffhangers, which I like. And I like that they're 1 episode a week. I like that anticipation and the theory crafting we do in between.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I think the ending, it was a lot of setup, which can be good, but it set up a big letdown.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. It wasn't the typical Marvel show, which was good. I gave it a 6. Was it 6 and a 7? 6 and a 7 out of 10.
I thought you'd go higher, actually.
It's about. I would say maybe I'll stick with a 7. Actually, I'll give it a 7 because I like it. It built on side characters that we usually, don't really care about and wait and give a second thought to. It was a new villain introduced. It wasn't your generic like everyday villain that everybody has to look to. And it had a better build in 9 episodes than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had in like 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked the build. I liked the first 4 episodes are probably my favorite. Because of the whole sitcom thing, like I mentioned. I kind of echo Ryan's sentiments, though. It kind of just left me hanging at the end. The acting was good. Special effects, great. I like the waiting weekly thing. Reminds me of like, watching TV when we were kids, It's not like, although I am a binger, I do like the format that Disney Plus is doing with these series, like the 1 week waiting. It just builds anticipation. The Easter egg, you don't. Yeah.
I hate. I remember those times. I remember waiting for like Stanford and Son come on and Good Times come on. Look, at this point now, I want it now. Okay. I waited for my 3 Stooges to come on Saturday. I want it now. Please give it to me now.
I get that too. I understand that. It's just for me, like I binge Stranger Things season 3.
Uh-huh.
Ask me something about Stranger Things season 3. I don't remember any of it because I watched it in one day. But anyway,
that makes sense. Yeah. No, I'll give it about I'm a 6 on it. I'm a 6.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
Yeah.
Ewan says, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I know I was going to say, Ewan says Matt Shankman, director, basically said in an interview that he was inspired by the Iron Man 3 manager fake out to make Ralph Boner. See?
Don't take inspiration from Iron Man 3.
No.
That's a mistake.
You know what? But people love that movie. People love Iron Man 3, though.
Did they?
There's some people who like. Yes, they did. There's some people out there who do like Iron Man 3. There's some people out there who like Last Jedi. I don't care.
Oh God.
That's a very good point. There is like at least 5 people that like The Last Jedi. But yeah, I give it a 6 too. I think it was a strong start, just like you guys said. Great acting. And I enjoyed it up until the end. So 6 for me.
Yeah. I'm just like Mandalorian and Boba Fett can't get here soon enough for me.
Yes.
But what about Winter Soldier and
Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm definitely
really
ready for that. That's going now. You talking about some heavy political stuff, man. That's going to be right there. It's going to hit some. It's going to hit some people hard, and I don't think they're going to like it.
Well, they're bringing back Purple Mask guy Zemo. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I want to see him with the mask and
yes. Darren Square brings a good point. I said I thought the show was excellent. That really exposed the power of grief causes, and they did a great job pulling from the House M reference, which sparked all the speculation and made for great conversation. Yeah,
good point. Yeah. Oh, one thing I did like about the show was Scarlet Witch's. Well, I like that at the very end she kind of came out as Scarlet Witch, and I love the outfit. Like, I think it looks a really slick modern version of like her traditional costume. I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that it looks like it's a couple of nods from what the Magneto and Apocalypse. His suit is kind of like the suit that he had from there.
You think they'd entertain the idea of tying them in like as a family? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a family thing. I think it's more going to be kind of like a kind of gravitating to that side, depending on what happens in the Multiverse of Madness. Because I think Wanda's kind of slipping, like going that slippery slope of like, I'm not really, here for the people anymore. And I think that's how you can build like that brotherhood of mutants if you're going to introduce the X-Men with a Magneto. Like that could be your first person like to join the group. Or be with like Magneto, like you see like Magneto come at the end and be like, hey, I'm recruiting mutants, which I know you are, and you'd be great for something that I have planned. So your superiorness of humankind. I'm like, oh man, like seeing Michael Fassbender come out in the suit. Oh my goodness, you know what? Being fan service like that, I'll be fan service like fan service.
Yep, I'm a fan. Service me.
Yes, that's right. They would be serviced me very well. I'll be like, I've serviced them more. Thank you. Can I come back for some more? Yes, I will.
That full release.
Yes,
happy ending for you.
Happy ending of everything. Yes, indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you hanging out with us on a Monday night talking about some WandaVision. This show will be up tomorrow on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Good Pods as well. We appreciate you all coming out and hanging with us, having a good time. We will see you on Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. So,
and check out Analog.
Yes.
Check out Analog Toys tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I think 10 a.m. Australian time. I'm going to be on with Tony, and we're going to be discussing retro versus modern collecting, and I'm really looking forward to it. It should be fun. Yeah. That's Analog Toys on YouTube.
Definitely check it out. Please check it out. And don't forget to watch the other great artists and creators that we've had as guests on our show. Please go give them a check out as well. You'll definitely get some great information. Have a good time watching them as well. And Tony says, looking forward to it.
Right on. And tell Bobby you missed him. Be sure you tell him you missed him here. He didn't even watch the show, so it would have been.
Right. You're welcome, Ewan. He says, thank you. Thanks again for the promotion.
Don't get demoted. All right.
All right, folks, we're out of here. Y'all stay safe and have a good week, and we'll see you on Friday.
Later, guys.
Later.